Heyo, good evening. It's your host, Dan, for the Snowflake Sports Podcast. This is 8:31 as I'm recording this now on Tuesday, June 4th. This is 2 days removed from the Game 2 Warriors victory. Um, so I'm going to kind of go through those first two games as I didn't talk about Game 1 last week. Or I talked right before Game 1 of last week. Or last podcast. So go through those. Go through some Kawhi speculation that's been kind of roaming around now. And then just other kind of free agency things that might be happening. But yeah, let's get to it. Let's go to Game 1. The Raptors won. Woo woo. 118 to 109 over Golden State. That was pretty big of them. Pretty crucial for them to start off the series with a Game 1 victory over the Warriors. Not a so great of a game from Kawhi Leonard, at least to his standards. The team pretty much kind of carried him on his back. Kyle Lowry didn't play too well. Well, actually, no, I thought he played pretty well, but his stats didn't show up well. Like, he still had like 9 assists, and I think he had a good plus minus, I believe. It was like plus 11 or something. Yeah, plus 11. Um, and But going back to Kawhi, he only had like 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, which I mean is still a good stat line for like a normal NBA player, but it's not what we're used to seeing when Kawhi Leonard plays playoff basketball. He was able to get the line pretty frequently too, going 10 to 12 from the charity strike, but he was getting trapped pretty much every time he touched the ball. Luckily, he was able to pass out of it, which kind of led to those 5 assists. That's pretty high for Kawhi. And other players were able to knock down threes. I think Danny Green was able to get some. Mark and Pascal was pretty good this game. Yeah, Danny Green had 3, Mark had 2, and Pascal had 2 as well from 3. Raptors shot 39% also. Anyways, yeah, so they were pretty much up the entire game. They're up by 10 at halftime. I think the Warriors were able to cut it down to 3 or so in the middle or the beginning of the fourth, but then the Raptors made it 10. It's just one of those things where you gotta check yourself when you're up on the Warriors. Like they can, score 18 unanswered points like they did in Game 2, and just kind of go from a deficit to a huge lead, and then you're pretty much, donezo. Um, but yeah, like normally any team would feel confident with a 10-point lead going into halftime. But I was definitely not, and I don't think the Raptors were either. Um, Luckily though, in the fourth, they were able to keep like a 8 to 10 point or 12-point lead for the rest of the way, so it was pretty comfortable. Like you were able to sit back in your seat. Um, But on the Warriors side, Steph Curry continued his onslaught and scored a game-high 34 points. He was really keeping them within striking range by getting fouled, stopping the clock. That was pretty big in the third quarter. I don't know how many free throws he had then, but that was pretty much getting the offense going. He was a perfect 14 from the free throw line, and he is shooting 94.3% from there throughout the playoffs. And that includes Game 2 as well. So yeah, that's unbelievable. I think he shot like 95% from the line last year too, but it was weird. He took like 123 free throws so far this year, but has played like 4 more games than all of last year, and because I think he missed the first round or so, um, last year, and but he only shot like 57 free throws that year, which just seems really incredible that he's got 123 this playoffs, but 57 of all of last year when they won the title. Um, but anyways, going to Draymond Green, he got himself the easiest triple-double ever, going for a 10-10-10 line. Um, anyways, though, he's been fantastic in these playoffs. He shedded 20 pounds before they started, and he's really benefited from Kevin Durant's absence. Uh, Draymond has been doing more of his point forward role that he used to do back in like 2015, 2016, and the free flowing, pass heavy team that we've seen over the past couple weeks has been through him. I mean, through like Steph and Clay too. But when he's in that point forward position, he gets it at the top of the key, and then you can kind of see what's going on. And Clay and Steph can kind of cut to the rim, or just what Steph does is where he just runs like a mile on one possession and just runs everywhere, going through screens, coming back, and then Draymond will find him. So yeah, he had a good game himself. The other Splash brother, Klay Thompson, also played a pretty good game. 21 points and 3 for 6 from three. Outside of that, no one else really stepped up for the Warriors. Iggy looked injured throughout most of the game and eventually was pulled in the fourth when it was pretty clear Toronto would pull out the victory. Yeah, he didn't really look healthy. He kind of looked like even worse version of Kawhi, when Kawhi was hurt and he was kind of limping. Like Iggy looked kind of he just didn't look right. But what was kind of boggling for this game was, and I guess just the entire playoffs in general, is how deep Steve Kerr goes through his bench. I figured he was kind of just trolling Portland when he decided to start Damian Jones in one of those games. But I wouldn't imagine he would do this in the finals against Kawhi Leonard. Like Kawhi was the Spurs got up by 26 points or something in game one before he got injured, so I thought they would just kind of, tame it down. But Steve put in 11 players in this game out of 12 possible players you could put in. But Jacob Evans gathered an astronomical 3 seconds of play, so I don't know if you even count that. The only player that wasn't hurt and did not play was Bogut, which is kind of funny since he played 7 minutes in game two and actually contributed to the team pretty well. But it's just weird that he started Jordan Bell over Looney in this game, gave significant playoff minutes to McKinney and Cook, even though Quinn Cook had a great game once Klay Thompson left in game two. But if you're just like a normal coach, you cut that lineup to 8, right? You put, I guess if Looney's coming off the bench, you play him a decent amount. Or first off, you probably shouldn't start Bell. You should probably start Cousins or Looney. And then Bell can come off the bench. Not a lot of minutes though. I would restrict that. And then Jerebko, he could play like a decent amount, like 8 or 7 minutes. I guess that's not that much when you think about it, grand scheme of things. And then I guess Quinn Cook would be the other one. The other one that I would like to see. Oh, I guess Sean Livingston too. So I guess like 9, which is still kind of deep. And Jordan Bell, like I could not see him. Like if he played pretty poorly this game. He played like 9 seconds the second game. So I think he does not need to see the floor again. So if you cut that lineup to 8, even 9, like I think you're just gonna do better. Like stop giving McKinney minutes. Who's the other ones? And then just don't put in Jacob Evans for 3 seconds, and then don't really put Bell on, and then that cuts it to 9. And then, I mean, Quinn Cook had a good game, so I could see him coming in. And it's just, I mean, now they're going to have to play even thinner just because all the injuries that they have. But I don't know, with normal teams, you play 8, you might play 9, but you just know the guys that you play and you don't. And this is a front-loaded team. Like, they have 5 past All-Stars, and one of them is hurt. Well, 2 of them. 2 of them are hurt. One just came back from injury. One had the flu on in game 2. But still, I don't know. You gotta cut it to something. Like, you just gotta limit those players. On the Raptors side, you had a near perfect game from all of your stars and role players not named Kawhi Leonard or Kyle Lowry. Like I said before, I thought Kyle played pretty well even as a floor general with 9 assists. His just stat line wasn't that great. I think it was 1 for 7 from the field. Let's see. 2 from 9 from the field. But he was still like a plus 11, which tied Fred and Kawhi for the best point differential. So I think he still played pretty well. Pascal Siakam was phenomenal. He scored 32 points, grabbed 8 rebounds and got 5 assists as well. He's been doing this more often, but when the double teams kind of started coming to him, when he's getting hot, he smartly passed out of those, which led to some wide open threes from Kawhi, Marc Gasol, and Danny Green. And shout out to Danny Green, though. He's played great compared to the last 3 games or so. He got 11 points off of 3 of 7 from 3 after, I don't know what he did. Like, those final 3 Bucks games, I think he was like 0 of 15 or something. And he, like, game 5, I think he played like 11 minutes. I think game 6, he probably played something close to that. And that was just kind of more the emergence of Fred VanVleet, which is deserving. Anyways, so going back to the game, Marc Gasol was awesome. He scored 20 points and grabbed 7 rebounds. I was talking to my friend during game 2, and he was telling me that, like, at this rate, like, Marc Gasol should get the MVP, Finals MVP, like, if they won game 2, which they didn't, but because he's able to stretch the floor, and that just creates more space for Kawhi and, like, Siakam to do their thing. I just disagreed, though, because Siakam had such a great line, was so efficient in this game, but that doesn't knock how great Gasol was as well. Golden State was pretty much daring him to shoot, which he's hesitated at most of the point, or for most of the time, but he went 2 for 4, just isn't too shabby. He fouled out late this game in the 4th, so he's got to make sure he stays out of foul trouble in these games. Kind of limited his minutes. I think he only had 30 minutes, right? Yeah, 29 minutes. 29 minutes and 43 seconds, so basically 30. But yeah, he's got to stay out of foul trouble, just keep him on the floor. Ibaka's a good backup, and I don't think they'll put Ibaka and Gasol on the floor, especially with Looney out. Like, they're not, like, Golden State's going to play small from here on out. Fred VanVleet had 15 and had a really nice drive on Jonas Jerebko. I don't know if he got fouled. No, it was just like kind of contact, or Jonas went straight up, and he kind of just went through the contact, which was awesome. So overall, it was a pretty complete game for the Raptors, where their best player was unable to dominate the game like we've been used to seeing. You know, I don't know how many games he scored more than 35 points, but he's done it at least like 6 or 7 times. It was also pretty strange to see Pat McCaw play 6 minutes against his former team. He hasn't really seen the light of day in this playoff series, or in the playoffs in general. And so, but he did nail a 3, so kudos to him. I don't know if Nick Nurse just wanted him to play against his former team and just had some, like, swagger going for him. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the last significant minutes we see from him, as Nick Nurse has normally gone 8 deep, sometimes 7, depending on if he wants to play Powell or not. And, like, that's a normal playoff lineup, like, not Kerr going through pretty much his entire team. Yeah, that was game 1. Great win for the Raptors. I was feeling pumped for game 2, thinking, and before this game kind of started, I just thought that Toronto needed to win this game. They needed to keep home advantage. They need to make sure that they win every single possible game that Kevin Durant sits, because that's just the unfair advantage that Golden State has when they play Kevin Durant, is that they just have so many shooters, and their, like, third option is a Klay Thompson 3, which is just stupid when you actually think about it. But overall, this game was pretty frustrating to watch, because it was one of those typical Warriors third quarter comebacks that we've been so accustomed to seeing these days. They went on an 18-0 run in the first 6 minutes of the third quarter before Fred VanVleet sunk a 3 to finally put the Raptors on the scoreboard for the second half. But props to Steve Kerr, though, because he made some excellent halftime adjustments that were able to stifle the Raptors' offense. He ended up putting Klay Thompson on Kawhi, I think mostly Draymond on Kyle Lowry, but sometimes Iggy, and then whichever one wasn't guarding Kyle Lowry was on Spicy P. I think the bigger body on Lowry affected his passing lanes. And once Kawhi got used to the lineup change, and if you're reading this, it's too late. Shout out to Drake. I just had to say that. But it was too late for Kawhi to really do anything. Also, Drake had a pretty not great game 2. Game 1 was awesome. He called Draymond trash, and he was dishing out so much trash talk. He had the Del Curry Raptors jersey on, which is just straight trolling. It was just, I don't know, the bandwagon fan that he was. He had to put an armband on his, I think it's his left arm. Anyways, one of his arms. And because there's tattoos of Steph Curry and Kevin Durant that he has. So it's just crazy. But he had a bad game too. Was I think because Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson were in the locker room, and they were just like, I think they were just like, oh, you were talking Drake, you bum ass, like, and they were feeling it. But I don't know. I don't think there's really any lost love or any hate between those three, I guess, or just Drake and the Warriors. Like, I think they're all pretty close friends. It wasn't too long ago that Drake's or Kevin Durant was like obsessing being called out in a Drake song. So yeah. Anyways, going to the actual basketball part. I wanted to say that this was a Klay game since he started off scoring the Warriors' first 9 points, but this was definitely a DeMarcus Cousins coming out game. Sidebar, also, Cousins came out and wanted everyone to stop calling him Boogie since he doesn't get that aggravated as much as he did when he was on the Kings, and that was the old Cousins that opposing fans from any team would just straight up boo at him. He hasn't really been like a head case or a locker room issue since then, and even then it wasn't that bad. And when he was traded to the Pelicans in the first time, or when he was traded to the Pelicans, like, he gave a pretty somber like speech to the Kings fan base, and it seemed pretty legit. It seemed pretty, you know, meaningful. But so I went to the Portland home opener when I was living there in 2017, and I played the Pelicans, and I was shocked that Trailblazer fans were actually booing him. I didn't think of it. Like, every time he touched the ball, it was like, boo. Like, I was just kind of shocked how, like, it's the New Orleans Pelicans. They're a small market team in the South that, like, I don't know. And this is before they swept them that year anyways. So, anyways, this was a story for like a day right before the playoffs started, but it went away, and I don't think anyone read it. People kind of ignored him. So, do him a favor and call him from DeMarcus now. No more Boogie. All right, so to go back to DeMarcus's actual game, he played a really high number of minutes after coming back from a quad tear. 27 minutes and 39 or 38 seconds to be exact. But his presence on the floor and his ability to find his open teammates as a big man proved to be very beneficial. Like, he found Klay cutting to the basket. I think he found Steph as well, and these were like really hard over the top passes that like if Kevon Looney tried to do that or Andrew Bogut, like they would just get stolen and it would lead to transition points for Toronto. So Cousins ended up with 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, and added 2 blocks to a great defensive game as well. Klay was awesome too. Like I said, he scored the first 9 points and the first 11 out of 13. I think Draymond got like a 2 in between there. But yeah, he scored 25 points and going 4 for 6 from 3 before he strained his hamstring and had to leave in the middle of the fourth quarter. Steph Curry was pretty good as well, even though he looked like he had the flu or something in the first half. He didn't shoot particularly well. They had some doctors like go and look at him. I don't think he didn't go to the locker room or anything, but the announcers like all Marv Jackson and like Mike Breen, I think. I always forget his last name. And Jeff Van Gundy were kind of just like, oh yeah, he looks sick, he looks off, and he definitely did. But he still was able to salvage it in the second, scoring a total of 23 points in the game. He was pretty inefficient in the process. He shot 6 of 17 from the field. And then Draymond Green was, first off, just amazing on defense. Like, he was just um, standing up Pascal Siakam. Like, he was guarding Kyle Lowry. He's doing pretty much everything. But he was 1 assist away from another triple-double. So he's scoring 17 points and getting 10 rebounds. And the man of the night for the Warriors, Andre Iguodala, scored the dagger 3 with 5.9 seconds left in the fourth to put the Warriors up by 5. Once Clay was taken out of the game, Nick Nurse decided to do a box-and-1 defense where he put Fred VanVleet on Curry and played like a 2-2 zone, pretty much daring any of the other Warriors to make a shot or just even shoot. I think they did shoot, but they didn't really go well. It worked out perfectly for the Raptors. The Warriors only scored that 3-pointer in the final 5.5 minutes of play. However, Toronto's offense could not really get it going, and it seemed like it was 106-98 for an eternity until Kawhi Leonard was fouled, and Steph was charged with the technical for throwing the ball up in the air, which seemed like pretty by the book. Like, you can't just like chuck it in the air, and if it hits, like a ref or like a Raptor or something, like. But I don't know. I think that's just Steph being Steph. Like, he didn't throw his mouth guard into the fans or something. But then he knocked down all 3 free throws. Warriors missed their shot on the thing, and then Danny Green hit a 3. Though it was kind of late. Like, I think Siakam missed a 3. Then they got the rebound. Then Kawhi missed a 2. Then they got another rebound. Then kicked it to Green, who finally hit the 3. Like 27 seconds left. And then it was just like a free-for-all in that last possession. Like, it seemed like they were going to get the steal when Steph passed it to Livingston. I think Norman Powell was on him. But Livingston like fought for that ball, and then he passed it out to Andre Iguodala, who was left like wide open. And he's not like a great 3-point shooter, but he's an average 3-point shooter. Like, I think I looked up on the year, he was shooting, in the playoffs he's been shooting like 35%, which is like pretty league average. Like, right, that's like pretty much right on the dot for league average. So he can make threes. You shouldn't leave him that open. Granted, like, it's just one of those things where that he makes the shot after, so if he misses, maybe it's just like, oh, what a bad shot. Like, this is great that the Raptors left him wide open to dare him to shoot. But I don't know. I think it was just a breakdown that didn't really work well, because Marc Gasol, he's like 34. He can't run out onto him. Danny Green is like nowhere near the play, and he's probably the second closest guy there. So yeah, it's just gonna happen. It's just kind of unfortunate. On the Raptors side, Kawhi had an awesome game. He scored a game-high 34 points, 14 rebounds, and was a perfect 16 of 16 from the line. They're saying after the game that Toronto missed a great opportunity to go 2-0 on the back of Kawhi, but the rest of the team was unable to pick up the load outside of Fred VanVleet. I didn't write. I don't know why I didn't write how many points he had. I think he had 17. 17. But Kyle Lowry had 13 points, which is just pretty close to his 14 points per game during the regular season. But he was a minus 17 in the game. He fouled out with 4 minutes to go in the fourth. So yeah, not a great showing. Like, so he scored more points than he did in game 1, but I felt like he played much better in game 1 than this game. Pascal Siakam cooled down. He only had 12 points, and he needed 18 shots to do it. So he actually, compared to the extremely efficient game 1, he actually shot the ball one less time in game 2, but he scored 22 more points than he did in game 1. But, like, granted, he's never going to be that efficient again in a finals game. Like, he was 14 of 17. From the field 82%. um, but you'd hope he'd hover around 50%. Like he takes like 3 to 4 threes a game, probably makes 1 or 2 of them. But in game 2 he shot abysmal 28%. So he's gonna have to step up. He's definitely their most reliable player outside of Kawhi. And he's been honestly not that reliable. He's up and down. Like he'll score 32 then score 12, or 34 then 12. I think it was 34. Let me double check again. 32. Never mind. So he scored 20 points more in game 2. My bad. Or game 1. My bad again. But I still do not understand how the Warriors escaped this game with pretty much their entire roster hurt. So, their entire roster hurt, sick, or coming back from injury, totally out of shape. So Durant out. Curry looked like he had the flu. Klay Thompson, strained hamstring, was out in the 4th. DeMarcus Cousins, coming back from injury, he was like breathing very heavy in the 4th. Though he played a great game. No knock on Cousins. Draymond was like the only healthy one. Kevon Looney went out. Andre Iguodala's been fighting injuries. Like that's pretty much their entire team. And then like Sean Livingston is fine, I'm pretty sure. But seriously, like that's probably why they have to go deeper, I guess. Like Kerr played all his available players in this game, including Jordan Bell for 9 seconds, and Jacob Evans got 4. Yeah, shout out to Jacob Evans. Good job him. Increasing by 33% to 4 seconds. Maybe we'll get 5 in game 3. Who knows? But going into game 3, KD has been ruled out. Kevon Looney is out for the entire series. Something with his shoulder. Hopefully he's okay, because he played great in this playoffs. Like, coming in for Cousins when he was out, like, he's played, like, underrated awesome throughout the entire playoffs. And then Klay is questionable, so we'll see if he plays. This is some pretty uncharted territory for the Warriors, since Klay has been their rock all these years. He has not missed a playoff game, I don't think. So in the 5 seasons that they've made the finals, he hasn't missed a playoff game, and I don't think he's missed significant time in any season. So, like, he's been the one that's healthy, where Steph gets injured with like his ankle. KD now is injured. He's been pretty healthy as a Warrior, but yeah, if Klay doesn't play, I would imagine Nurse would go to that box and 1 that the Warriors struggle to adjust to. But knowing Kerr, he will have some adjustment that might throw that out the window. Like he might just play crazy, like put Draymond in, like Quinn Cook will probably be the shooting guard. Iggy can shoot. And then you got Steph, and who would be there? There's a 4th that would be small. Or I guess Iggy would be your 4. Or maybe like play Jerebko more? I don't know. He'll get weird. He'll get weird with that. He'll play. He's gonna play his entire team again. In game 3 probably. But I'm really liking the Raptors' chances, even though they're going to have to play in a tough environment tomorrow in Oracle. I just think the injuries might be too great. Like, I listed pretty much their 6 out of 8, the 8 most important players for the Warriors, and they're either hurt or sick. Granted, I don't think Steph will be sick or whatever. Like, they played on Wednesday, or they played on Sunday, and now they'll play on Wednesday. He should be totally fine. But still, like, Boogie is not in shape. If Klay's out, the series is going to change. Like, he is their rock. He is pretty much everything they go for. And with Kevin Durant now, he's been able to kind of be more of a shot creator, kind of dribble the ball. Dribble the ball. Of course, that's just what shot creator means, but he just wasn't, like, spotting up threes. That's gonna be a big dent in their offense and their defense. Like, he's a fantastic 2-way player. He was the one that guarded Kawhi, and I don't want to say completely shut down, but I mean, he shut down in that third where they got 18 straight points. And then Kawhi really got going when McKinney was on him in that fourth quarter. Um, yeah, I'm hoping for that Raptors victory. Uh, anyways, so about Kawhi Leonard, anyways, in his free agency that pretty much no one really knows what they're saying. Some people will say one thing, some people are saying the other thing. Um, but today there was a story about Kawhi buying actual property in Toronto, which may be a smoking gun to him staying at least another year. Um, I mean, there's no knowledge of what the property is, I don't think. So, I mean, it's not like he bought like a $10 million home that has, 9 bedrooms, a basketball hoop, movie theater, all that fancy bougie shit. It just says that he bought property. So it could just be a thing where he bought a property, he's just get Airbnb it out and just, he diversified his portfolio or something. Um, but when I heard this is like what I normally go off of if they're signing somewhere is like where they buy property. Because like LeBron James bought like a $25 million house in LA in October of 2018. So I was like, okay, he's going to LA. Like he's done with Cleveland. Like like right when the season's starting. Um, but when I saw that the intel came from TrueHoop.com, I became more skeptical. Um, like True Hoop, I don't really know what this is. I tried going on their website and it looks like they're trying to be more like the Athletic, just with not that good stories. Like they have a paywall, and I've heard the Athletic is pretty good. Like you just get really interesting stories, and their journalism is fantastic. So it's probably worth the subscription. But like, I've never heard of True Hoop, but they were the ones. So I think like a week ago, or maybe like 5 days ago, they're the ones that came out and said that Kawhi Leonard was doing a 1-in-1 deal with a player option in the second year. I can still see that happening, and I still believe that he bought property in Toronto, but especially the report on him signing that 2-year deal. It's just kind of weird that's not also coming from a bigger source like Woj, Chris Haynes, or like Mark Stein. And like Woj is the one that breaks everything important. Like he doesn't mess up. He's gonna be the guy. Like, and he hasn't said anything. He hasn't said jack shit. Like, so I don't know. The thing is, I really want to believe the 1-on-1 deal because the way Masai has constructed this roster is like pretty much no one is on the roster past 2020. I'm gonna look up their salary again. But so Kyle Lowry's huge contract is done. Marcus Sol has a player option next year. He's gonna sign into because it's for like 26 million, so or 25.5. So he'll sign that. Kawhi has a player option that he's definitely gonna decline. Serge Ibaka is only through 2020. Danny Green's only through this year, so he could honestly leave. I don't know what. I think he'll stay. I don't know. He had a weird thing about hating on Toronto or Canada for bagged milk. So I don't know if he likes it there. Anyways, so Powell's there long term. He's there till 2022 with a player option in 2022. He signed that in 2017. But yeah, so Fred VanVleet could be gone in 2020. Pascal Siakam is gone, or his rookie contract will be up. Yeah, so they have a team option for OG Anunoby, and then they have Powell on the books for 2021, and that's it. They have 14 million signed for 2021. So if he does a 1-and-1 and they just run it back one more year, like say they lose in the finals and say they do something like the Spurs did against the Heat the first time they lost, where it was just devastating. Like they had champagne coming out of their home locker room in Game 6 because they lost like dramatically to the Heat, and they lose. Say they lose game. Say they lose like some kind of way like that. Maybe he just wants to run it back one more time, I mean, there's no guarantee you go to the finals because you saw how close that Sixers series is. Milwaukee might get better. Pacers might get Oladipo, and um, or we'll probably have Oladipo in the playoffs, so they'll be a much dangerous option. But I don't know. I really think that 1-1 could be a deal he looks at. Um, and I hate that it's true.com that reported because like it just kind of makes sense. Um, Especially from the Raptors standpoint. Like, okay, we'll just do one more year and say they lose this year and they lose next year. And then he's like, all right, now I'm going to LA. And also, just to point out, he's bought a home a while ago in San Diego for like 13 million, and it's like one of those big ass mansions too, with the 10 bedroom, like a pool and something, and like crazy amount of bathrooms. Um, but the thing with that is that's in San Diego. Like, he's not gonna live there when he's playing for the Clippers. Like, that's too far. Like, that's such a long commute. Um, Anyways, please stay Kawhi. Like, Kawhi and dying for the rest of my life. Oh yeah, also that. So like, Toronto is doing a thing where or pretty much all the establishments for like eating, just like restaurants and stuff, restaurants and bars is where it'll have like a poster of his face, or maybe like I haven't seen it, but maybe like his hand, like the signature hand thing, um, and if that's on there, he gets to go and eat there for free. So, and then there was that story like 5 years ago that he was driving like a '97 Dodge van or something. Um, and they asked him like, "You're making like 20 million a year. Why are you driving a 20-year-old van?" And he was just kind of like, "Well, it still runs. It's paid off. Like, why wouldn't I use it or something?" Like, that's just the way he is. So maybe he just likes like free stuff. I don't know. Like, I would love to eat to great restaurants for free. That's freaking awesome. Like, um, anyways, please stay quiet. We love you in Toronto. Anyways, so I just want to kind of talk about other free agent possibilities, and I just really want to talk about one because I saw a story when I was looking at my phone the other day. But D'Angelo Russell is getting chased down by like 4 teams already, and it's not even. Well, I guess he got a month until July 1st, but so the Magic, T-Wolves, Pacers, and Jazz are interested, and I'm assuming the Nets are also very interested as well. Like, I firmly think that Pascal Siakam is gonna get the most improved player, but D'Angelo Russell is like right there too. Um, he should be a solid second. Um, but just thinking of the other teams that he could play for, I really like the option with the Jazz. Even though Donovan Mitchell is like pretty ball heavy guard, like I think those two, like D'Angelo Russell, just gives so much offense to that team, and they already have the defensive Quinn Snyder to keep it more sound. Like D'Angelo Russell kind of gets burned on defense, but like his offense would be great. I don't really see him playing on the Jazz. Like, I don't know why he or anyone would go to Utah. But then like if you think about these teams like Orlando, Minnesota, Indiana or Indianapolis, pretty small markets. Like there's no like Brooklyn's probably the biggest market that he could be in. And he's been in LA, he's been in New York. I guess he's from like Kentucky. So like Memphis might be the closest team. Like to his home. I don't think that matters at all. And they're not going for him. They got Ja Morant. They got Mike Conley that they still got to trade. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, the Magic have Fultz, right? So they're pretty positioned at point guard, and the amazing DJ Augustine. T-Wolves, that could work. I don't know. Like, the more the Jimmy Butler stuff like fades away, or at least goes further in time, it just looks like the T-Wolves don't have hardworking players. Like Andrew Wiggins is not playing well at all. Like, that contract looks garbage. Karl Anthony Towns is great. He's awesome. So I think he was third team All NBA. Pretty sure. Well, I mean, that could work with him. The Pacers, like Russell Oladipo and like Miles Turner, like that's not bad. Um, but really, like out of those four other teams, like I think the Nets work. Like Magic, I do not get that. Like, what is he gonna play with Vucevic, who disappeared in the playoffs? Like, that's gonna be your second guy. Like, I don't see him doing that. I just would love to watch it on the Jazz, because it'll open up the floor for Mitchell, who's pretty much like a one star offensive star team. Like, you got Rudy Gobert, who's awesome on defense, but kind of like slightly limited, actually pretty limited on offense. Um, but yeah, it's gonna wrap it up for the Snowflake Sports podcast. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.